are planning to rig election in Nigeria come 2027, we will resist it by every means lawful and legitimate.
I swear to God Almighty that there is today no party that can salvage this country other than APC.
Yes.
What if the biggest threat to APC in 2027 is not a single candidate, but a political equation? What happens when the youth movement that shook the system in 2023 meets the Northern vote bank that has dominated presidential arithmetic for decades? What if the South-South political machinery aligns with insider knowledge of the Southwest? And what if establishment power brokers quietly decide it's time for a new balance? In 2015, a coalition unseated an incumbent for the first time in Nigeria's history. That measure changed everything. But history has a strange way of repeating itself, especially when economic pressure rises, voter frustration grows, and political rivals begin to talk behind closed doors. Now, imagine this combination: energizing urban youth and first-time voters, delivering millions from the north, activating South-South structures, bringing elite stability, penetrating the Southwest political fortress. Individually, they are influential. Together, they could redraw the electoral map. Tonight, we break down the numbers, the regions, the strategy, the internal risks, and why this potential alliance could become the most serious challenge the APC has faced since 2015. Stay with me, because the real story is not about personalities, it's about power mathematics. Figures like Peter Obi, Atiku, David Mark, and Aregbesola finding themselves on the same political platform represent one of the most structurally dangerous coalitions the APC has faced since 2015. Not because of noise, not because of social media trends, but because of mathematics, geography, structure, and narrative power. Here's why such a combination poses a serious threat in 2027. First, the demographic and youth factor, driven by Peter Obi, has built a strong appeal among urban voters, educated middle-class Nigerians, and especially young voters. In 2023, despite lacking deep nationwide structures, he mobilized unprecedented youth enthusiasm, particularly in the Southeast, South-South, and parts of Lagos and Abuja. If that energy is merged with established political machinery rather than standing alone, it becomes more dangerous. Youth enthusiasm plus structure equals higher turnout and better vote protection. Second, the Northern electoral arithmetic through Atiku remains one of the most experienced coalition politicians in Nigeria. He has deep networks across the Northeast and Northwest. Even when he loses nationally, he still pulls millions of votes from core northern states. In Nigerian presidential elections, the North holds the highest concentration of voting strength. If Atiku's northern base aligns with Obi's southern urban surge, that immediately changes the national map. In Nigeria's 2023 presidential election, the official result declared by INEC showed a three-way split that reshaped the country's political landscape. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC was declared winner with about 8.78 million votes. Atiku Abubakar of the PDP secured roughly 6.98 million votes. Peter Obi of the Labour Party won approximately 6.10 million votes. Now, here's where the arithmetic becomes interesting. If you combine Atiku's 6.98 million and Obi's 6.10 million votes from 2023, the total comes to about 13.08 million votes. That is more than 4 million votes higher than Tinubu's last winning total in that election. On pure numerical grounds, if both men were able to retain their 2023 voter bases fully and unify behind a single ticket in 2027, the combined total would significantly exceed Tinubu's previous winning number. However, elections are not simple addition. Not all voters automatically transfer loyalty in a merger. Some Obi supporters rejected both APC and PDP in 2023. Some Atiku loyalists may resist a secondary role. regional dynamics, turnout rates, incumbency advantage, new voter registration, and economic performance between now and 2027 would all influence the final outcome. But strictly from a mathematical standpoint, the 2023 numbers show that a united Atiku Obi front would start with a larger base than Tinubu's last winning total, and that is why such a combination is often discussed as a potential electoral threat. Third, Rivers State and South-South strategic weight through Amaechi. Is not just a former governor, he understands federal power politics, grassroots mobilization, and election logistics. Rivers State alone carries massive electoral influence in the South-South. Amaechi also has long-standing ties across the North due to his time as Minister of Transportation and his role in National Party strategy in 2015. He bridges South-South and Northern political networks. Fourth, establishment credibility and military-era networks via David Mark. Is a former Senate president with long-standing relationships across Nigeria's political elite. He brings elite reassurance. In coalition politics, older power brokers matter. Governors, senators, traditional institutions, and retired security figures often align more easily when a familiar establishment face is present. Mark provides that stability factor. Fifth, Southwest penetration through Aregbesola. Understands the political DNA of the Southwest better than most opposition figures. The APC's strongest historical fortress is the Southwest. Any coalition that includes someone who knows the internal alignments, grassroots networks, and ideological fractures of that region immediately reduces APC's comfort zone. Even a slight vote split in Lagos, Osun, Ogun, or Oyo could become decisive nationally. If we extend the 2023 electoral arithmetic and factor in political sentiment trends, the northern variable becomes crucial. In 2023, Tinubu secured strong support in parts of the Northwest and North Central, but he did not dominate the North the way previous APC candidates once did. Atiku maintained significant strength across the Northeast and key northern states, while Obi made surprising inroads in urban northern centers among young voters. Since taking office, Tinubu's government has implemented major economic reforms, including fuel subsidy removal and exchange rate unification. While these policies were framed as long-term structural corrections, the short-term impact has been sharp inflation, rising food prices, and currency pressure.
Let it stop down, or let army take over. Let army just take over and sure, let it take over because the sole president are doing nothing.
Northern Nigeria, where poverty rates and food insecurity are already higher than the national average, has felt this impact heavily. In politics, perception often matters as much as policy. If a significant portion of northern voters feel that economic hardship has worsened under the current administration, voter enthusiasm for the incumbent could decline. Reduced turnout in APC-leaning northern states or a shift of protest votes towards a united opposition would be strategically damaging. The North holds the largest voting population in Nigeria. Any measurable drop in northern support for Tinubu, combined with a hypothetical Atiku Obi alliance retaining their 2023 bases, would tighten the electoral map considerably. However, northern voting behavior is not monolithic. Religious leaders, traditional institutions, local governors, security dynamics, and campaign structure will all influence 2027 outcomes. But if dissatisfaction over cost of living, inflation, subsidy removal, and currency instability remain high, and if opposition figures successfully frame 2027 as a referendum on hardship, northern sentiment could become one of the most decisive variables in the next presidential election. Now, combine all five strategically. Southeast enthusiasm, Northeast-Northwest vote bank, South-South structure, Southwest insider knowledge, national elite reassurance. That is geographic spread across nearly every major voting bloc. Beyond geography, there's also narrative advantage. APC's dominance since 2015 was built partly on presenting itself as the only viable national coalition. If an opposition alliance successfully mirrors that same multi-regional structure, APC loses its only national platform advantage. This psychological impact alone can shift undecided voters and elite endorsements. Again, another factor is protest voting. Economic hardship, inflation, subsidy removal backlash, and currency instability often increase opposition chances. When voters are frustrated, they don't just look for alternatives, they look for credible alternatives. If fragmented opposition looks weak, a united opposition looks viable. Viability changes behavior. Fundraising and international perception also matter. A coalition that includes experienced national figures signals seriousness to donors, business leaders, and foreign observers. That improves campaign funding, policy articulation, and election monitoring. There's also the 2015 precedent. APC itself was born out of a merger. ACN, CPC, ANPP, and factions of PDP. That merger defeated an incumbent. Any coalition that replicates that merger logic creates historical anxiety for the ruling party. However, there are internal risks too. Ego management is the biggest threat to such an alliance. Who becomes the presidential candidate? Who takes vice president? Who controls party structure? Nigerian coalitions often collapse not because they lack numbers, but because they lack internal trust. Ideological coherence is another issue. Obi's technocratic reform messaging, Atiku's business liberalism, Amaechi's combative style, Arebesola's progressive roots, and David Mark's establishment conservatism must be harmonized into one message. Without a unified economic and security blueprint, voters may see confusion instead of strength. Still, if managed properly, the combination presents three major structural threats to APC. 1. Nationwide vote spread across all 6 geopolitical zones. 2. Increased turnout among young and frustrated voters. 3. Elite cross-party defections that weaken APC from inside. Elections in Nigeria are not only about popularity, they are about structure, coalition mathematics, turnout psychology, and regional balance. A ticket or alliance that successfully balances North and South, youth and establishment, reform energy, and political